Hello everyone, MoparDad84 here, and today I'm going to try to lift the car and see what it is that's setting off that ABS light. So I need to get that fixed so that way I can do my 0 to 60 runs again, because it is not working when the ABS light's on. It's just showing that it's ready the whole time, and it's not ready until you stop. It's like it's throwing it off. So I may have to unhook the negative battery terminal too, to reset it and everything once I get it done. But basically I'm going to be lifting the car and lifting the front of the car, seeing if there's any movement in the wheel bearing. If there is, then that's obviously the problem, because if you have a bad wheel bearing, it'll do the same thing as, you know, it'll make like you have a bad sensor or something like that. Because I've had that happen before on my Ram that I had previously. And we're going to lift it up, check the wheel. If there's no wiggle in it, we'll take the wheel off and try to find the sensor. Maybe we'll take it out, clean it off, maybe spray some WD-40 in it, put it back, see if that makes any difference on both sides, and if there's no play in the wheel bearing. And if that doesn't help, then two new speed sensors is what I'll need. So I need to know so I can order those or go pick them up. Okay, so the car is up off the ground in the front on the driver's side, and I've already pulled on the wheel, and there's no movement in there. The whole car's moving, so that's a good sign. Hopefully I won't have to replace the wheel bearings, because those are expensive. And it does seem like there's a little humming maybe coming from them, but they're not moving. Or maybe the humming's just the tires, or maybe it's just all in my head, you know. So, but they're not clanking around like they would be if they were worn out completely. So that's a good sign. So we'll take the wheel off, and we'll see how the wheel speed sensors look, the ABS sensors. Okay, so the wheel's off, so there wasn't any movement in the wheel bearing at all. So it's off to the sensors, and you can see the sensor. It's right here coming through. Looks like it might be a pain to get changed. Hopefully not, but this is where it goes in. One little bolt there. Take that out, clean it up, spray some WD-40 in there, put it back. That's what we're gonna do on both sides. See if that makes a difference. That's all I'm doing. If the other wheel has no movement or play in the wheel bearing, take the sensor off, clean the sensor clean it up, spray some WD-40 into the hub. Because I've either watched videos of that or read it somewhere that you can do that, and sometimes it works. So we'll see. We'll give it a try. If not, 2 new speed sensors. I've already placed the ones on the back, because when I went to AutoZone, it said it only had 2 on the back. Well, it's got 2 on the back and 2 on the front. So the back ones are brand new. So place these 2 on the front, we should have the problem fixed, I hope. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that one out, clean it. It would be hard for me to get the camera in there and do all that. It's not going to take that long. It's just one bolt. Take it out, clean it off, spray some WD-40 in there, and put it back. Repeat process on the other side. Okay, so I took the wheel speed sensor out, and it's making me hopeful that this might actually work. Because like I said, I either watched a video or I read it somewhere that you can take these out, just spray the hole out with like WD-40 or something, and it'll fix it without actually having to change the wheel speed sensor. So that's what we're going to try. It was stuck in there a little bit. I had to pry it out with the screwdriver, but that's what it looks like. Again, just one little bolt holds it in there. You can't miss it when you're looking back there. It's just the only electrical connection going into the hub. It's just a wheel speed sensor. But what it was is, when I pulled this thing out, there was a whole bunch of dirt and, you know, just like dust and dirt coming out of there. So it makes me hopeful that this might actually work. So it'd be nice not have to change them, because they're only like 15 bucks at AutoZone a piece, so that's not bad. But it's just sometimes these are just a pain to change, because I changed a couple on an 08 Avenger. If you didn't see the video, I didn't go in depth of, you know, the changing them, but they were a real pain to get to. And so I'm hopeful that I don't have to change them. But again, when I pulled that out, a whole bunch of dirt and stuff came out of there. So I'm going to spray WD-40 into the hub, into the hole where that wheel speed sensor came out of. And we'll do that on the other side. we'll start the car up, and hopefully that fixes the problem. Okay, so I'm trying to give you a look down here. This is the hole that sensor goes in. I basically sprayed it out with some air, sprayed some WD-40 in there, and I waited about 5 minutes to let it kind of dry out a little bit, and then the actual sensor here, I just wiped it off a little bit with a dry cloth, and I'm going to put that back. It's going to be pretty much the same process on the other side. Well, it's going to be exactly the same process on the other side. It'll be the same. I just put the nut back in and do it on the other side. And again, all I did is took the wheel off. This is right behind the hub and the whole brake assembly and everything. Just go back behind there. Here's your line, and this one is a obviously your brake line. So this just carries fluid. This is the only electrical like connection back here, and then it's right dead center in the back. One bolt. Take it out, wipe it off, spray some WD-40 in there, put it back. Hopefully this works, because it'll make things a lot easier and quicker. So again, I'm just going to put that back together, and then I'll do the other side. It's the same process. It's going to be just like this side. So I show you one side, it'll be the same on the other side. I'll do that, put the tires back on, torque them back down to spec, and then we'll take it for a ride, and hopefully that gets rid of that ABS light. So that's done. I cleaned up all the sensors, sprayed WD-40 in the holes, blew the holes out with air, and tried to clean them out and everything. There was a lot of dirt and dust and road grime and everything in the sensors, so they were actually even hard to get out because there was so much crap in there. And so hopefully that made a difference. And while I was at it, I went ahead and rotated all the tires, because the backs I noticed had like half the tread on them that the fronts do. And as I said in previous videos, I'm not really the type that tries to do burnouts, but the car has other plans sometimes. So yeah, the back tires, only 10,000 miles probably on these tires, and the back tires were half the tread the front ones were. So I figured might as well do rotation on them. So we're going to get in the car and see if this made any difference. So far, right now it's saying service electronic stability control, service analytic brake system. Of course, we haven't moved the car at all yet, so we're gonna drive it around a little bit, see if it makes a difference. If not, I'm gonna unhook the battery, let it set for a little while, and see if that makes any difference. And if not, of course, I gotta order 2 wheel speed sensors for the front. Like I said, I already did the rears. They're not super expensive, and I traced the lines, and they unhook right under the wheel well, so they'll be actually really easy to change. Whereas on some vehicles, it's not the case. Some vehicles, they go through under the hood. You have to open the hood, get under the hood, and they're like in terrible placement, you know. But this, at least, thank goodness, it's right there under the wheel well. It won't be hard at all to change, not at all. And they're like 15 bucks a piece, so that ain't bad. So hopefully, if this didn't do anything, then hopefully, you know, hopefully it'll just be change those sensors completely, and we should be good. Because also, you know, I checked the wheel bearings and they seem to be fine. When I spin the wheel, there just seems like there's just a little bit of noise from the rotor touching the brake a little bit, nothing much. So wheel bearings should be fine. That's good, because those are expensive, very expensive. So, you know, as far as driving, of course, there was never any shaking or anything like that would make you think wheel bearing was really bad or anything. It's just a little bit of humming noise, and that's probably that brake touching the rotor a little bit. I'm gonna go for just a little short drive and see if it makes any difference. So far, because probably can't hear me. Yeah, we're just driving a little bit to see if that light goes out. The ABS light and the traction control light is on because one of the wheel speed sensors are bad, and like I said, I already replaced the back, so I got to do the 2 fronts if this doesn't do any difference. So far it hasn't did anything. I'll take it back home and unhook the negative battery turbo, let it set for like a half hour. It'll reset everything and see if that makes any difference, because so far cleaning them didn't make any difference. Usually with my truck, when I would change a wheel bearing or a wheel speed sensor, and because the light was on, I never had to unhook the battery or anything. It would just automatically just go out. You know, it would sense the new sensor is working, everything's working, and the light would go out. So I never had to unhook the battery or anything. So just trying to find a place to turn around. So yeah, I'm just gonna take it home and unhook that negative battery, and then see if that makes any difference, and that'll cap off the video. Okay, so I unhooked the negative side of the battery for about a half an hour. That should have reset everything, and I'm gonna go ahead and start the car. Do a it's not a cold start because it was already running, but start the car, and y'all hear the exhaust, and then we'll see if that light went out. It should be out, and then we'll see if it comes back on. So that didn't even reset everything with the battery unhooked. The negative side unhooked for a half an hour. That didn't even reset everything. So the lights are still on. You know, even it did reset the clock, it looks like, but other than that, it didn't put the ABS light out or anything like that. I figured it would put it out and then it would come back on if, you know, if as I was driving it, if the sensors are still bad. So I'm just gonna go ahead and change the front sensors, and that should solve the problem, versus just fiddling around with the old ones. They're not that expensive, and it doesn't look like they're going to be that hard to replace because the connection is all underneath the wheel well. So I was worried that it would go inside the engine compartment like I've seen other ones and be down in this crazy place where you can't get your hand in. No, it's not going to be like that. They'll probably take like 15 minutes to change. Most of the time it's just taking the tire off, you know. So I'll just get some and change them, and I should fix that problem. But that's the end of the video. Didn't go as I'd hoped. That would have fixed it just like that, but I know I've watched videos where people did that or read it somewhere and it worked, but in this case didn't do anything. So ABS light's still on, so we're just gonna buy new ones. Like I said, 15 bucks a piece at AutoZone, so it's not too bad. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Mopar Dad 84 out.